Welcome back. On the edge of the Chilterns in the Oxfordshire village of Wheatley lies a garden with a rich heritage that is very close to the heart of our own Rachel Detain.
This is a very special garden, and not only because it's beautiful, it's very important in the history of horticultural training, and specifically of interest to me because it was all about teaching women gardeners.
Today, Waterperry is a magical garden, enjoyed by thousands of visitors every year. But it might have been a very different place without the efforts of the ladies of the Waterperry Horticultural School. In 1932, Grace Beatrix Helen Havergal, affectionately known as Miss H, moved her fledgling school for lady gardeners to Waterperry. A trained horticulturalist, Miss H was keen to pass on her expertise. And for ex-pupil Mary Spiller, that training laid the groundwork for her whole career.
It was wartime and you had to do something, either join one of the three forces or become a land girl. And I thought I would become a land girl. But my father said, well, you're not the right physique for that, for dealing with bulls and horses and things. So he found out about Waterperry, so it turned to gardening. I wanted an outdoor life, and I think a lot of girls did. There were about 10 of us in the first intake. It was a 2-year intake. We all lived in the house. It was a very family atmosphere. We all ate together, all the staff and students in the dining room. We all worked together, the staff worked with us.
Their day began at 7, when Miss H's girls were allocated their jobs. Afternoons were taken up with lectures and more work in the gardens, and the evenings were also devoted to study.
I'm always surprised when I see old photographs of people gardening. They were often wearing very cumbersome clothing.
Well, the uniform, up until just about that time, Miss Havergal and all the students had always worn green knee breeches with stockings up to the knee. Well, they were very uncomfortable. They were tight around the knee.
Very restrictive, I would have
Very
thought.
restricted, yes, very uncomfortable. With a pinafore over, with big pockets in, so that you carried all your things in the pockets. A green blazer. And so during the war, it was a group just before me revolted and said, we're not going to wear these anymore. And so we went into dungarees, which was what everyone was wearing then, you know, trousers with a bib, and they were much more comfortable. But they had to be green and white blouse.
Over the years, Mary continued her association with Waterperry, working alongside Miss H to develop the gardens.
I should imagine that it's changed enormously since your first days here. What about the input that you yourself have had here?
Well, I tried to carry on, to keep going the things that she held dear, really. I learnt to care for the herbaceous border as she had designed it and cared for it. But then gradually, and certainly after the present owners took over, we wanted to develop it more. And so I was lucky enough to be able to work on the design of the part of the garden beyond the herbaceous area, the long walk and the rose garden and places like that.
Well, Mary certainly put in the groundwork when she was a student here at Waterperry, and just look how all that hard work can pay off, because she helped to design this wonderful knot garden back in the mid-1980s. And it really is a triumph. Got these great slabs of topiarized box, very solid, infilled here with sage, and then you've got the soft fountains of the grass over there. It really is a very beautiful part of the garden.
Waterperry is continually evolving, but its horticultural heritage hasn't been forgotten.
So, Rob, are we really still seeing the influence of Miss Havergal here in the
I
gardens?
certainly hope so, and certainly with this border is where all our love and feeling for the place actually is represented. I mean, this is Miss H's border, and we still follow her strict rules.
So this is pretty much as she would have planned it and planted it?
There are new plants that we put in, but as she planned it, and the philosophy, people ask whether it's designed because the colour seems to be all over the place, but actually it's very mechanically designed, and that's what you don't see elsewhere, and that's the clever part of what the ladies are doing here.
So what did she do that was that little bit different?
Well, the idea was, instead of tall at the back, short at the front,
Yeah.
she wanted tall early at the back, and then your late tall came to the front to hide all the gaps. And so you would have a series of seasons. You would have your looping season in about June, around June. Delphiniums were coming on, and everything with the delphiniums. That was July, and we have today still get the border perfect for July the 7th, because that was Miss H's birthday.
Oh.
And she used to have a little party on her birthday.
Well, it's wonderful, I must say, but it's interesting because this is obviously a development really from the 30s onwards.
Yeah, definitely.
And then how has the garden progressed since that point?
Well, we try really hard not to be retrospective. We do look at Miss H and her philosophies. We see the garden very much at education. It's very important to us, the courses we run, and we need examples of what's going on in the world, what's happening out there, and that very much, I hope, is in her spirit.
Have you ever had any regrets about devoting your life to gardening?
There are times in the middle of winter when you're picking frozen sprouts or digging up herbaceous plants in the mud, when you think, golly, why ever am I doing this? But on the whole, no. No, it has given me a wonderful life. I've enjoyed an open-air life, and being, I think, in touch with nature and wild things has been great.